newscast on Equinox Television, magistrates in Anglophone regions in Cameroon have just 6 months to learn how to speak and write the English language for audiences in the southwest and northwest courts would henceforth be strictly carried out in English. This as the debate on the alleged fading common law system continues in the country. And also in this newscast, the official funeral of the late mayor of the Douala 5 municipality enters second day today. A grand wake service is to hold few hours from now. That's going to be at exactly 8 p.m. at the Omisport Stadium in Bipanda. Stay with us for the details. Good evening, televiewers. Welcome you to join us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. The journey to eternity for the former mayor of the Douala 5 municipality continues today. A grand wake service in honor of Francois Foning has been built for this evening at the Bipanda Omisport Stadium here in the economic capital Douala, as we announced a few seconds ago. Dozens of persons, that is relatives, state officials and well-wishers, were this afternoon at the Douala 5 municipality where she was being laid in state. The wake service will start by 8 p.m. That's going to be tonight or few minutes from now and would last throughout the night, after which the remains of the former mayor and also the former member of parliament in the Cameroon's National Assembly will be ferried to the west region of the country for burial. She would be laid to rest. That's going to be on the 21st of March 2015. The head of state shall be represented at the funeral ceremony in the west region of the country by the Prime Minister, head of government, Philemon Yang. The mortal remains of Francois Foning, should be noted, arrived the country's economic capital Douala. That was yesterday after she was being removed from the Yaoundé General Hospital morgue. Now, audiences in courts found in Anglophone zones would henceforth be strictly carried out in English. The decision was arrived at in a meeting of Anglophone lawyers as well as members of the Executive Bureau of the Cameroon Bar Council, which took place, that was yesterday. The presiding magistrate in Anglophone courts have 6 months to learn how to speak English and French, or English rather, and carry out audiences in English. The resolution came after embittered Anglophone lawyers threatened to boycott all court sessions, denouncing what they have so far termed the gradual fading common law system in the Anglophone zones. A memorandum was written to that effect. That was on February 20th by Northwest lawyers demanding the practice to stop. And as far as the common law system is concerned, some members of the Cameroon Bar Council here in the economic capital Douala are saying that the place of the common law system in Anglophone zone is not negotiable and as such should not be a topic of debate as well. A barrister at law, Roland ABEGA, and also Joseph Claude Belliga were speaking to a reporter for Hansen Chanji as this dust is still to settle on the neglect of the English or of English by the attorneys in English courts in the country. For Hansen Chanji has the details.
Cameroon has a bijurous system, the common law associated to English-speaking zones and the civil law practiced by Francophone lawyers. These systems are as old as the time of colonization.
Common law is what we inherited from our colonial past, from Britain. That's common law is for the man on the street. Common law is that law that originates from tradition. It's partly written and it's partly tradition. And that is what we inherited from England, from Britain, from the United Kingdom. That was our colonial master. Maybe we should also say something about civil law, which is what is known as a continental law. It's the law that is basically written.
The practice of common law in Cameroon is threatened on a daily basis. French-speaking attorney generals, magistrates, and state councils sent by the Yaoundé regime to Anglophone zones, according to Anglophone lawyers, are violating the constitution by imposing submission in French language. An attorney general in the Northwest region was even quoted saying they have the right to submit in English or French because the president, in appointing them, never cared whether they were from French or English-speaking background. The question now is, who is minimizing the common law in President Paul Biya's country?
You bring me to another part of the question. Politicians and lawyers should not take the debate somewhere else. I will not blame the magistrate who has his boss in Yaoundé, who is the supreme magistrate. The President of the Republic or the Supreme Judicial Council appoints a magistrate as Attorney General for Bamenda. Do you want that magistrate to challenge that appointment? I would blame the persons appointing such a magistrate who doesn't understand one word in English. That's where the problem is. That, to me, to Roland Abeng, that is where the problem is.
Barristers Roland Abeng and Joseph Claude Belega, both members of the Cameroon Bar, insist the place of the common law in Cameroon is undisputable because it is bound by the Constitution. The decision to restore submission in English courts is just a mere formality and not a solution because there has never been a problem, Barrister Roland Abeng tells us. According to the legal minds, the only solution to the problems is to appoint Anglophone attorney and magistrate in English zones or French-speaking magistrates must be able to speak and practice the common law system while in Anglophone zones.
And still on the problems plaguing the Cameroon Anglophone lawyers in the country, Barrister Roland Abeng proposes solutions to some of the problems they are facing. He was speaking to Hansen Chanji.
Nominations or appointments are made within the magistracy. They should take into consideration the capacity of a magistrate to understand or to train himself as per the common law exigencies. It's important. Anglophone magistrates find themselves in Francophone Cameroon and they do everything to make sure that they are understood in French. It's important for the magistrates that are practicing in these two entities to be able to use languages that are understood by that locality. It's important for us. But I don't think politicians are doing the right job. You know, I hear magistrates have gone, lawyers have gone to calm down the issue. It's not calming down. That we should stop it from where it originates. It originates from even the training of our magistrates. Magistrates are trained in Enam. How many Anglophone magistrates are trained, and what type of training do they have? Is it common law training? That's the problem. Most of their lessons are in French. They come out and they work on basically civil law texts.
That is Barrister Roland Abeng there speaking to our reporter for Hansen Chanji. Now, on to other news. Traders of the Garwa main market in the northern part of the country have been given up to the end of this month of March, that is the 31st of March, to dismantle their makeshift stores occupying major streets in the market. The warning was given by the government delegate to the Garwa City Council during a tour aimed at sensitizing the traders. He was speaking to traders in that part of the country, and our reporter Jacques Ekwekinga compiled the following report.
The government delegate to the Garwa City Council says it is end of recreation time for traders of the Garwa main market who continue to occupy road pavements meant for cars and pedestrians. Usman Alaji Buba, accompanied by the DO for Garwa 2 municipality, Francois Mabele Esumba, flanked by the president of the Traders Union and the forces of law and order, took time to go around the market to sensitize the traders who still have their makeshift stores occupying public pavements around the market to get rid of them by the 31st of March, after which the government delegate did promise repressive measures. According by the boss of the Garwa City Council, the activities by these traders has made access in and around the market very difficult, causing car owners to park haphazardly, thereby causing urban disorder. A recent fire incident in the market, which consumed many stores, was catastrophic due to the fact that the firefighters could not easily get access to the zone of the incident. Usman Alaji Buba reiterates the fact that the move is to promote the fight against urban disorder in the town of Garwa and also to give the town a new facelift as it prepares to be part of the host of the African Cup of Nations in 2019.
And in news out of Cameroon, the Tunisian government has vowed to do all they can to fight extremism in the country and also protect its citizens from further attacks. That's security measures have been stepped up in the country, and 9 people have so far been arrested in connection with the assault that took place yesterday. Details with the Dutch Velen TV.
To remember the dead. Dozens of Tunisians took part in an evening vigil for the victims of the attack that has shaken the entire world.
Our country can't handle another blow like this. It's going to affect Tunisia badly on multiple levels.
On Wednesday, the capital, Tunis, suddenly found itself in a state of emergency. Gunmen fired at tourists as they got off a bus in front of the Bardo Museum. Panic broke out as people tried to flee. Inside the museum, the gunmen took hostages. The building shares an entrance with the country's parliament, which was in session at the time of the attack. Lawmakers were evacuated by security forces. After 3 hours, a special unit stormed the museum. One day on, many Tunisians are asking themselves why security wasn't tighter before the attack.
I don't understand. Normally in a country under terrorist threat, the police focus on tourist areas. Why wasn't a museum that's frequented by tourists protected? Why were doors open, allowing people to just go in?
The international community has offered its condolences. Germany's foreign minister had these words of support.
Whoever the attackers were, if it was their goal to derail Tunisia's budding democracy, then I am thoroughly convinced they will fail. We cannot allow them to succeed.
The Tunisian government has vowed to do everything it can to fight extremism and protect Tunisians from further attacks.
Still in news out of Cameroon, European leaders are meeting in a summit, and the unstable relationship between Greece and Berlin is top on the agenda. Angela Merkel, who is part of the gathering, is optimistic, however, that a solution can be found. Details once again with the Dutch Velen TV.
And Merkel has warned there won't be any quick solutions.
And a brief note in sports before we take you to the second part of this newscast. The winning yellow jersey of the ongoing 12th edition of the International Cycling Tour has been transferred to the French cyclist Vincent Grezic. He won the 6th lap of the competition, which took place today between Limbe in the southwest region of the country and the economic capital Douala. Cameroon had emerged champion in the first 4 lapses until this stage of the competition. They're bringing us to the end of this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. We thank you so much, viewers, for joining us in this edition of Talking Point tonight. Francophone lawyers transferred in English-speaking regions have a problem: their inability to write court submissions in English. And that is what has for months now been tearing them with Anglophone lawyers apart. Lawyers in the northwest region of the country find it inadmissible that submissions are written in French in Anglophone courts. And tonight we are going to be talking about the topic which is tearing lawyers in the country apart. Our lawyer or our guest for tonight is Barrister Nkamwa Limen. We thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Point, Barrister.
Thank you very much.
And just to find out from you, you are an English-speaking lawyer based here in the economic capital Douala and also a member of the Cameroon Bar Association. Where are we as far as this problem is concerned?
Okay, I must state it very clearly that it's a serious problem based on the fact that we have 2 laws practiced in the Anglophone section and the Francophone section. Some of the laws are harmonized, but certain part of the law, especially the civil law, is not harmonized. And the problem here, sending Francophones to Anglophone regions, poses where they do submissions and maybe render judgment in French. There's a problem of communication. The essence of any judgment or submission is to be understood. And if people cannot understand what a judgment is, it cannot be enforced. So I think it's a very serious problem. Another issue to take cognizance of is the fact that most Francophone magistrates are trained. They are civil law magistrates. What prevails in the other side of the country is different. It's a common law system. And we begin to wonder if their judgment will be based on civil or common law.
That is actually where the problem lies. Now, sending Francophone lawyers to Anglophone zone, is it not a bigger problem than the issue of language?
Well, the problem of sending Francophones to Anglophone, I don't think is a problem per se.
Because you actually talked about merging the civil law system and the common law system, which is a bigger problem.
No, what I'm saying is the problem is not on the person being sent. A Francophone can study
the common law.
The common law. Same as some of us who study common law are now practicing in civil law. So the question is this Francophone magistrate, can he speak in English? Can he do his write-up in English? Can he do his submissions in English? And will he be applying the common law or the civil law in the English-speaking Cameroon? So if we have a French magistrate who speaks English well and understands common law, I don't think we'll have a problem. But the problem comes now when they send a French-speaking magistrate who delivers his judgment or do other submissions in French. People will not understand, and it becomes a problem.
Would it not be better for Anglophones that have actually studied the common law system to be transferred in Anglophone zones? Would it not be a bigger solution to this problem?
You know, in everything we do, we should not forget the fact that government has as a policy to do what is called national integration. If it's a government policy, fine. But those people sent should be qualified. Not even a matter of being qualified, should speak English and know the common law. So I think that is where the problem is. It's not sending Francophones. We Anglophones this way. We do our submissions in French. And here we practice the civil law. So the question to me, in my humble opinion, which I buy with that of a senior barrister Abeng Roland and Maître Biriga, is the fact that judgments are done in French. That is the problem. Not that the person saying is a Francophone, no, but that the judgment is done or the submissions are done in French.
And this is something that has been going on for several months now. Why is this issue coming up only now?
You know, it takes time for people to react. Maybe they started gradually and it has come to a limelight where they think it is important for the administration and other people to take note of such a problem. When a problem begins, we don't just go immediately to start crying everywhere. You try to sort it out. You can make petitions, you can petition the hierarchy and see that things change. If things change, there's no problem, there's no need going further. But if the change is not coming, that is when people now resort to other.
Now, giving a Francophone magistrate 6 months to learn how to speak and write the English language, do you think that is a solution to this problem?
If it works, it's fine. If it works, it's okay. But the question is, my humble opinion is that the time is too short for them to do it. The solution is not there. I think the solution is to check, to see the profile and send those who can speak English and those who have an understanding in the common law. You cannot, what about, okay, if you learn to speak English, is that all? There is a common law practice. Can they take 6 months to study common law practice? It's a big problem.
And apparently Anglophone magistrates are very few too in the country. The reason why most of these magistrates that are sent in Anglophone zones are actually Francophones.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? There is a fault, yes. There are not many. But the blame goes to those who make the policies. As Barrister Abeng Roland rightly put it.
Who are those making the policies?
The head of state appoints those magistrates. The minister and the director general of the ENAM, they are the people who choose the candidates after the exams to go into training. We had this incident where they said that there was regional balance at IRIC. They should equally see into it that at least Anglophones, that they have a proportion of magistrates that come in to fill in the positions as magistrates. But as I said, the problem is not that of being a Francophone or being an Anglophone. It's you, yes.
It's an issue of language.
Language.
Now, using both languages interchangeably, you say a francophone who has studied the common law can be able to pass judgments in anglophone courts, like in the northwest region or the southwest region of the country. Yes. Would the judgment would it not have an impact on the judgment that's been delivered?
That is what I said.
Have an impact?
That is what I said in the beginning. That the rule, the essence of the judgment is to be enforced. Right? If you pass a judgment, that judgment needs to be enforced. If people who have to enforce this judgment don't understand the judgment, there is a problem. So, in Bamenda, if the lawyers, the bailiffs, they don't understand, even the litigants, if they don't understand what you give as a judgment, it will not be enforced, and that's a serious problem. So, at the level of judgment, if they don't understand, it's a problem, as you rightly said. As
a member of the Cameroon Bar Council and association, and also an Anglophone lawyer in an economic capital, which is a French-speaking region, how are you coping?
We're doing what we're supposed to do.
Did you do both the civil and the common law?
I did the common law. I studied in the University of Boya, where I did the common law. But in practice, I'm practicing the civil law jurisdiction. So I take my time to read the civil law and to put it into use and to defend clients based on the civil law procedures.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
It's a pleasure.
To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the news. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Good evening to you once again.